Hello, everybody. I hope that you are all doing very well. Today I have decided to go live. As you might notice, there's a little bit of a difference today because I don't have my webcam on. Um, I have been working on a macro Elliot Wave count over the last 2 or 3 days or so, basically starting all the way from scratch on the Bitstamp chart, all the way from the beginning, as you can see. So I've been putting a tremendous amount of work in the chart already, where I've been going over a few overarching ideas and validated them. And now I've reached until the point where I've arrived at the more current situation. And I thought that would be a good idea. Why not stream it live? I don't have my webcam on today. And what I will also do is I will close my microphone in a second. And I will put on some music for two reasons. The first reason is maybe you already hear that there's not that much energy in my voice today. That is because I have a little bit of an infection in my throat, which makes it very difficult to speak for extended period of time. And also, working on this kind of stuff requires a lot of focus and concentration. So I don't really want to distract myself by keeping on talking. So what I will do is I will quietly work on the Elliott wave count, and you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the music and the charting work that I'm putting in. Um, and basically, yeah, enjoy the ride. I will type out some things on the screen if I find something interesting. If it does require further explanation, I will open up my mic and enlighten that with voice as long as it allows me to. So I'm not really sure how long I will be able to go on doing this stream, but hey, I really enjoy you guys being here, and why not have some people joining in and relaxing together on the charts, because this is what we do, and or this is what I do every day, and there we go. So enjoy. And now I will close off my microphone and basically just cut to the chase and get to work. Enjoy, guys. Wait, I completely forgot to Oh my God. I was sorry about that. I didn't have my microphone on. Basically, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not 100%. All right, let me start over. um, yeah, I was indeed explaining something. Hello, everybody, by the way. Shit. Okay, I'm gonna have to restart then. So I wanted to unmute my microphone and stop the music to say, like, I forgot to explain what I was actually going to really work on. Um, oh man, there we go. Didn't happen for me for a long time. Anyway, so what I'm going to work on, let's just start over, yeah? What we're going to work on is I want to work on a bullish count where we would now be looking for, in this particular count, we would be looking for the possibilities of that we are indeed in a new bull market or a continuation of the bull market, where we would say the super cycle here, all the way from the beginning of the chart, leaves us where in the position where wave 3 was actually being put in at the $66,000 all-time high at the moment, and we have now completed an overall wave 4 in terms of an expanded flat. I have worked for 2 days straight on the entire chart for both the bullish and the bearish count, which I will also address. And this is the bullish one. Up till this point, where my mouse is hovering right now over here, everything in this chart that you see is fully validated. That means that technically this is all correct. It's all correctly done and measured, and it all is technically a valid way of looking at the chart. Even though for those who are familiar with Elliot waves might seem like, wow, this is a crazy expanded flat, rest assured I've been putting tons and tons of hours and work into this. This is a legitimate count and it is fully validated. The bullish idea here is that the entire bull market is actually not yet over, and we are essentially still working on a final wave 5 of the super cycle. That's how it's called. What I want to do is I'm going to work on the more local section to see if what I've done up till far actually makes sense, and we're gonna find out where that would actually be invalidated and when the bearish count would take over. The second part of this stream will consist of a bearish count in which I have 2 options, where we are either in simply still a wave, in a really big correctional wave still, and we would see lower prices ultimately, or we have started entering into a B wave. So those overarching options might turn out midterm bullish, right? So that's the thing that I want to find out. So while this is overall really bullish, and the other 2 options that I want to explore are overall bearish, but that doesn't mean that we're gonna drop here right away. Maybe we still have some room for another rise, even though ultimately this looks bearish, So that's what I wanna focus on. So everything up till this point, up till this low, is fully validated, and I'm gonna work on on the more local section. So now I've already talked way longer than I wanted to, but I think now the sound has been working, and I think I got everything through what I said initially. So now I will close off my microphone, put on some music, and get into focus. So enjoy, guys. Cheers. All right, there we go, guys. So what I've been doing is, not gonna lie, my focus is a little bit gone because I've already been doing this since I woke up, essentially. So my focus is starting to lag a little bit. Um, but all right. So a few things that I'm noting, right? So I kind of have two options, and it all revolves around the fact um, whether we have now entered into a larger correctionary period or not. Where I would be going for the most bullish option, right? Is that this was the ultimate bottom of the bear market, and we're gonna go for all-time highs. Where you would simply say, okay, maybe this is wave one, wave two, and we're now working on a very large wave three, right? Before we have a really large retracement afterwards. This is not gonna lie, pretty speculative, but this is extremely bullish, right? Where we would simply say like, okay, we started our run up initially with a very tiny wave one initially, where we've retraced on at the end of December, and now we've started a really major impulse wave that could potentially be extended, right? Where we would actually say that, okay, we're currently working on an overall wave three of a much larger wave one of the bull market, right? So that would essentially look something along the lines of this, right? Let me see. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So then we would be really looking at something along the lines of this. So wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, I'm not bothered about having like accurate targets right now. More focused on the structure, really. So, that would look like something along the lines of this, where we would have, whoops, that is not the correct one, where we are working on our first major, major bull wave, right? And I do think that this can cause a lot of confusion. I don't think this is maybe a little bit too high. To be like a bit more precise, I would say like ideally that would go to about like $50,000, because I think that can spark a lot of confusion in the market, right? Really a lot of confusion in the market, where there's going to be a lot of mixed feelings, where people are going to think like, oh, this is like a B wave, and we're going to see something along the lines of this following a bearish idea, which I am also going to work on in a second, only to have a partial retracement, which would then be a overall wave 2, and then we would actually break out. That would be the most extreme bullish scenario. At the moment, I would say it's way too early to really trade for something like this, but this is a potential option. This is a potential option, and this is the very most bullish, well, really extreme scenario. At this point, I would say it's kind of wishful thinking, but can't hurt to at least keep it in the back of your head that this could be an option. I would say a more modest, option is to just keep it slightly more local, where we would, where we have had this run up, we are meeting resistance, and we could be staying range bound, meaning that first wave of the bull market is actually in. I'm not so sure if I should mark this as an end of wave one, where we'd be simply looking here for an expanded flat idea. It technically does look all right, to be fair, where you would be simply looking now for that wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down really to give that end to the C, it would make sense because ultimately we are still in a range overall. You know, we are still in a range overall where we could say like, okay, we simply keep on trading the range, but then look for a partial decline, putting in a lower high before we finally break out. And if you would follow that idea, then you do have some technical levels backing up with that, like the golden pocket, for example. And if I'm not entirely, yeah, this is on the Bitstamp chart, so this is obviously not very accurate, but you can see a high volume node also really lining up nicely at that just below that $20,000 region, which in my opinion would also be quite the confusion, where a lot of people would be extremely bearish only to have a partial decline within the range and then actually have to break out. This is really local, so this is the overarching idea, and I think that idea can hold true regardless whether wave one ended here or here. Personally, I would actually say that this for me makes just a little bit more sense. Where this was actually our extended wave and this was a short wave, you know, so this was relatively sharp retracement considering, you know, just a simple fast correction, and this one was more shallow. Doesn't add up with the Fibonacci's per se, but I think this makes a bit more sense for me, and the reason for that is that I always find it very tricky and very dangerous to just anticipate on like expanded and running flat ideas. So while it is an option, it's not my favorite one. So I think I'm just gonna stick with discount. Either way, both scenarios suggest that we would see another retracement to form, where that support line, that support level would really come in really at the $20,000 region. I mean, in the end, we could also simply have this, right? And then bounce. So I would say overall, you know, this consolidation region and this region is a nice region to look for a potential retracement if that wave is indeed in. Now, how do we know that that wave is actually in? Well, really simple, a break of market structure, right? That would mean losing the low over here. And that hasn't happened yet. So that is why, even though I'm not the biggest fan of this count, because I simply don't like to be the guy that is gonna say like, oh, this is gonna go to all-time high for sure. But at the moment, this count is not invalidated at all yet. So in both scenarios, we would see a retracement coming, you know. However, ultimately, it would be a short and relatively weak retracement, after which we would see a really big increase in volume again, eventually breaking out of the range. There's actually also an option 3. So this is these are both implying that the top for now is in, and we would see some deeper retracement, which, to be honest, has my preference. But I do want to explore one more scenario where we could see higher prices first before we see that bigger retracement, and that would be the scenario of, hold on a second, where we could say like, you know what, where we would have this scenario of, well, really having this upward sloping channel continuing on, which I have already given a couple of times in previous streams, which would ultimately still put in a higher high. At the moment, so if we focus on locally, at the moment, this midline is proposing resistance. You know, and in addition to that, this is showing us a bear flag at the moment. So the probabilities at the moment are that we will see some lower prices. Should this not, having that said, we are at support at the same time. So that makes this region a little bit tricky, and it's yet to be seen how this is really gonna play out. If this is not the case, so let's say if we do go up from here, then we could consider this wave 3 simply just still ongoing, and then I would have to relabel this count, so I think maybe remove a little bit of complexity and essentially say, okay, it could be that we're getting our retracement over here, yeah. And then if you're bullish, you would be looking to long around that, essentially that middle of the range again, where this count would simply be invalidated if you do two things. Either you reach back into this region, or you simply lose the low, right? So early invalidation would say like, okay, coming back into this section, which is backed up by multiple types of technical analysis as well, right? Where you would break out of this initial range that has been formed, where we've seen a breakout, deviation, get back in, have a full rotation to the upside of the range. So this is also backed up by, I would say, normal analysis. It's important to know to have those invalidations. In both cases, you would be looking for more upside to come. And then I would, so I would say that is the most bullish option. And if so, the last part would be, give me a moment to also think. I'm thinking out loud here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that you could also just simply be in a bigger wave over here, right? And you would still see some more upside. That is more local. This is also the option, right? Where this wave 4 has actually been put in. We're now actually working on our wave 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, this is the last option. Regardless, I would say we are obviously. So this is the thing. You can see that I'm starting to have difficulty with finding options for immediate higher prices, even though this is a bullish count. And in that way, Elliot Wave can really help me focus on the chart. So in both cases, whether we're going to see a new high or not, I would say Elliot Wave here becomes a little bit less useful. So the takeaway from this count is that regardless of however I try to put on, or however I try to label it, I would say a temporary top is very close, if not in, right now. So that means that, and it's not confirmed yet. So that means that at this point in time, all that this count gives me is an opportunity to long lower. That is all it does. In terms of market structure, it's not clear yet if this trend, this uptrend, has actually ended yet. For that, we do need to lose this low. So if you would short here, for example, in my opinion, is just based off of Elliot Wave, is very tricky to do right now. So the only option that we got from this Elliot Wave is to look for lower prices and ready ourselves for a much larger move up afterwards, if you're bullish, right? So that is what this count currently gives me. It does not give me a reason to short right now. It also doesn't give me a reason to long right now. However, I would be very interested in a retracement just slightly below that $20,000, because that is where support would come in, right? That is where this discount can become helpful. For now, it really it's rather unclear whether the top is actually in or not. So you would have to revert to other ways of analysis. That is how discount helps me right now. Now let's go over to the bearish count. Most of the work has already been put in now, which is quite good. I see a question in the chat that about the wicks that have been going. Yeah, I will give my view on that in a second. I want to stay with my train of thought. So this is where we arrive at the bearish count. And essentially what this says is, okay, overarching count is slightly different, where I'm implying here, let me just simplify this, very simple, where we did have since 2008 a really big bull market overall, right? Of course there were bear markets in it, but they were part of much larger, of something much bigger. So we had a really big rise up from 2008 really until 2013, where we entered the first bear market, giving us our wave 4. Then we had our second really big impulse wave, wave 3, which is also the first time that Bitcoin really entered into the mainstream region. Then we had a really long, well, for crypto at least, bear market, including the COVID crisis, including some relief rally as well. And finally, we embarked on the major run that we had, bringing us up to all the way to $66,000. To be really honest, I prefer discount a little bit more because I have to put less effort into making things fit. You know, to be really honest with you guys, the bullish count kind of feels a little bit force fitted. If I'm totally honest with you guys. Nonetheless, I'm not saying that it cannot happen. And therefore, it's good to have always a bullish and bearish count so that I will never be surprised whatever happens, you know. If we do smash through tomorrow, let's say, to $28, $29, $30,000, then I could say like, okay, then the bullish count remains valid and I could be looking for higher prices, right? In terms of the bearish one, I really have two big overarching ideas, which is where ultimately in this is the ultimate bearish count, really, where we would be looking for where we have started on our B wave. So what this means is that indeed the bull market, the overarching bull market, has indeed ended in 2021, and we are now working just on the first leg of an overarching macro bearish correction, giving us an overarching wave 2, which ultimately would give us much lower prices. However, on the midterm, it would actually give us a relief rally, giving us our B wave before we would start a major downturn once again. And I think this is why I wanted to do the stream, because even though I can be still bearish, even in a bear market, you still can have like massive and major relief rallies. It's important, and that is what Elliot Wave gives you. It gives you like this potential perspective of what you can expect. So let's say if you're longing here, you know where to take profits just in case if it's still a bear market, right? And it helps you prevent from, let's say, taking a really nice long, maybe over here, and just holding it, expecting something like this. If you're aware that this could happen, or alternatively, which is the second idea, this ultimately still being part of wave A with wave 5 yet to come. Let me show you. Where did I have that? Right, where you would be looking for wave 1, 2, 3, wave 4, and a wave 5 over here. This is for macro stuff. This is not for day trading. This is not for day trading. This is macro swing trading stuff. But it gives a really good overview of what you can expect in the future. So that could be this. To be honest with you guys, really, whether we are even going to 30K or something like that, you know, discount would really be invalidated if we really start breaching, or I would say if we clear this range, really. That's when this bearish count, at least the wave 4 idea over here. Oops. this wave 4 idea would come in jeopardy. That is when I would say like, okay, then maybe this was, then probably this was the thing. And that eliminates one idea, with the only bearish idea then left is that B wave coming in and then lower prices. Let's say, I would take profits over there. But let's say if you then start to retrace there, and things start to keep on staying healthy, then you can start taking into consideration like, okay, you know what? This really starts to really look bullish. Even though you took profits, you can actually reconsider, enter into the long, and then start trading a bullish idea. And like I said, this is high time frame analysis. So this is not for day trading. If we drop today like a few $100, I'm not gonna instantly change my Elliot Wave count. This is an outlook that I expect to play out literally over the next 8 months, not in 2 weeks really. So currently I'm still open for this option because simply for me it just looks better, and it also makes a little bit more sense. Given the time that this was a relatively sharp and short correction, this is a much more drawn out, sideways, really low, relatively low volatility compared to these sections on the chart where we still had 2-3 billion volume days on Bybit exchange, for example. Now the situation has been totally different, where at some days we couldn't even get above 300 million daily volume, which is very low. Lack of liquidity in the markets. So those are my outlooks. Correlating that with each other, this is, I would say, on the short term / midterm, is the most bearish outlook. The other outlook implies that it is kind of in line with the bullish count, where ultimately we would see higher prices before having a much, much bigger drop down. So what does that mean? All this stuff. I think it gives a great outlook that even though we might see higher prices, that you don't necessarily would have to expect all-time highs right away. And if you are indeed bullish, and if you're bearish and if you're actually preferring to short, then it is important to also keep in mind that this could be bullish by paying attention to the levels of invalidation of the other count, which is kind of in this region, really. This obviously would be totally an other invalidation. So whether you're long or short, at least on your swing trades, obviously this incredibly important region, right, where we are at currently. So this is the most immediate count going for this wave 4. This is an idea that you could look to trade. Now, when would that trade idea be actually confirmed? Well, I would really say if you really change that market structure, really. So you really need to lose those lows before that can actually be in play. Immediately thereafter, this is a bullish idea where you could be looking for opportunities while being in a bearish setup as well. So you can take multiple trades, obviously. And if we go up, then whether or not this is bullish, we have pretty much confirmed that really this $29,000 and $30,000 region remains big resistance. And if after that, it's really this $48,000, and that could mark the end of the B wave. So those are the overarching 3 ideas that I'm actually thinking of. Let me repeat, this is the most immediate idea, unconfirmed. As a matter of fact, at the moment, market structure simply remains bullish, despite the fact that we are at resistance. At the moment, we have not seen a real sign of high time frame rejection of these levels yet. We've seen a retracement, right? but it has not evolved into something bigger just yet. So at the moment, these three ideas are really still up in the air. What is the most, I would say it's sensible to trade the range here, looking for potential shorts. However, the shorts remain risky until we really changed the trend, really. And as a matter of fact, up till that point, I still expect higher prices until the chart proves me that this is, simply bearish. Like the local uptrend is still bullish. So at the moment, we have just simply not no reason to think that we're going to see lower prices as of yet. So those are the three outlooks in place. And again, I will repeat why. You might think like this from, this doesn't make sense. This is so speculative and all that. Well, till a certain degree, I must agree. Yes, this is true. But it sets your overarching expectations, whether you are especially for a swing trader. If you're short, then you know where to look out for a potential big bounce. So let's say if you're short, then you know that this is a region where you would have to be careful and carefully monitoring and managing your short trade, because that ties into a potential bullish idea as well. The same goes, the higher you go, the higher the chances become for a bigger retracement, right? And if you are, let's say, really bullish on that, then you know where to monitor price action at what regions and what you would expect, really. So hopefully that has been rather helpful for you. And by the way, that B wave actually would really look like something. I forgot to actually draw that out for you guys. So you would actually be saying something along the lines of an A, B, C kind of wave. So in all scenarios, we will need to have a retracement, A lot of clarity, I would say, would be given if we actually manage to clear this high. For now, this is the idea that is closest to where we are current in the price action, and therefore I would say that has the most potential at the moment. So what does it mean? Does it mean that I would be like going into short right away? Well, no. I mean, that should have been done literally over here. That's why I think you should have taken your short, because now you're still trading against this market structure, essentially kind of in the middle of this range. Whether you look at it as a diagonal one or a sideways one, I mean, kind of gives the same, pretty much the same result, midline of the range, which is not the best place to enter fresh swing trades. So if you're not in a swing trade right now, it's just a matter of waiting it out and see how the bigger picture plays out. In the meantime, you can trade more local price action. And it does seem like we're gonna see a little bit of a bigger retracement, just simply because of the way that we have been consolidating over here. We have simply backtested perfectly this midline of the channel, right? We've been dropping, bam, 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 bam. So, and, immediate resistance, like really important resistance, is really this $24,000 region. Reclaim that, and I would look for higher prices. If we fail to reclaim it, I would be looking for the lower part of the channel. And this is more, again, for, I would say it's still swing trading, but not macro swing trading, right? I mean, this is a major, really big region. So those are the, big resistance, 24K. After that, really big resistance is 25K. This is more local, obviously. Decent support comes in, I would say, $22,000. And of course, after that, we have $20,000. And then slightly below, we have that golden pocket coming in with the point of control of the overarching range. And those are the levels that I would be day trading my way towards to. So let me just really quickly go through the chat. And then I think I'm gonna call it a day because I don't feel too well. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys. Let me know if you could actually follow along. It's not often that I do public live streams on Elliot Waves because this is rather complex. And sometimes a little bit. Let's say if you haven't been trading so long, I think it can be a bit difficult to grasp why I would be doing this if I say, "Oh, this is speculative," and at the same time, this is it can work really, really, really well at the same time, and it's also very complex. So let me know if you could follow along, because obviously, if I lose everybody here, then it doesn't make sense to do another public stream on Elliot Waves. So consider this a little experiment and see if you find it helpful. And let me know. Oh yeah, I forgot. I wanted to highlight something on this Bybit wig. Yeah, that was really funny because I did a public video as well that I uploaded going over one of my losses, and while I was making this video, Bitcoin dropped extremely hard. Um, so let me go over to the Bybit chart, which is this wick. It's the only exchange really where we have kind of this wick. Am I saying that right? So we don't have this wick here. We don't have it because this is Bybit, USDT pair Bybit, and we have Coinbase, and then we have Binance. So it really only happened on Bybit, and the reason for that was we had like I don't know like 50 million shorts or some longs or something like that open here, like crazy longs, crazy. It is really insane. So makes only sense that they got like totally and utterly wrecked over here. Um, so yeah, it makes quite a bit of sense, and that's exactly what happened. Um, well, and then the next question is: so do I think that's a good low? At first, I thought no, but now that we've been partially filling that, I'm starting to think like, okay, maybe it could be. Um, However, I still find it a little bit too big. It would make sense to take out this low once again. I'm really in two minds, really. I'm really in two minds. Because we have stopped at a level that I would say not many people per se expect price to bounce heavily from, it could make sense, you know, to just chop around here for a bit and then have a move out of this. I think that would leave a lot of people behind. Um, and at the same time, I also just can't help to think that we just have more downwards prices to come. So in that situation, I'm going to be very careful with making a prediction here, and you know, I'm not necessarily confused, but on the bigger picture, for me, it's at the moment I'm really in two minds with how this might play out. If you would hold a gun to my head and say like, okay, you have to give an answer now, I would say we're gonna drop in price. Um, but how does that help me with trading? With trading, I'm simply looking at the chart, very simple actually. I mean, I'm simply looking here at the high, and here we have the low, and that's the range we're in right now. You know, so for me, it's just really simple. As long as we're in the middle of the range, um, for me, there's no real great trading setup other than potentially scalp trading or any of the sort, where I would be looking for support coming in over here, and where I would be looking for shorts to come in here. If we lose the level, you know, then we progress into the bigger channel, and then I would be looking for the low side of the channel. So when it comes to actually day trading, I keep it a lot less speculative, and I keep it very technical. And when I'm in two minds about the overall direction, I would say this is on the low time frame. So let me clarify this a little bit. Um, the way that I see this, high time frame, midterm time frame, low term time frame, and then this very light right now. This range is more like immediate time frame. That's how I would look at it. So simple as that. If we make progression here, I would be looking at the low time frame. If we make progression there, I would be looking for the mid time frame. If we make progression there, I would be looking to the macro situation once again. Keep it simple. Keep it, organized, I would say, and don't lose the focus of your actual trading idea. There's no way on earth that I would say like, oh, I'm gonna short and I'm looking to short this all the way, to below $20,000. That just simply doesn't make sense and would go against multiple ideas. Because I already said that this situation, if you tie it and connect it to all the overall things, I have a gut feeling, but at the moment, the gut feelings on both sides are equally strong. So therefore, I just cannot trade. And simply, you just cannot trade off of a gut feeling anyway. So I'm just gonna keep it to what I have on the chart, and I'm gonna let the chart prove to me how it's gonna progress. And whatever it's gonna do is fine by me because I'm aware of the bigger picture. If we drop really hard, I know exactly where I'm going to be interested in another like bigger time frame long trade. And if we go up, then I know exactly where I'm going to be very, very, very interested for a swing trade short. And and then continuing on to the next idea. It's kind of like playing chess, thinking like 20 moves in advance. And it's different from the fact where you would say this is yeah, you can just slap it on, and if it gets invalidated you just pick another type of analysis. No, well, yes, to a certain degree, but also no, because I do use these at the moment speculative ideas. I do use them and I do save them on my hard disk in my head, which is my brain, to be careful at certain regions, and look for fleshing out these. Now they're conceptual ideas, but I look to flesh them out later on. So yes, the work that I'm putting in is definitely not for nothing, and the subjectivity with that goes away because I already know exactly where I would be looking to at least pay attention to the chart, and that's why these kind of analysis things are helpful, and that's why it can be important to know. It saves you from being overly biased and allows me to always stay neutral. Anyway, I should stop talking. I'm gonna close off the stream, guys. I don't feel great, but hopefully you've enjoyed, and thanks for joining in. Let me know if you liked it. Have a good day, and see you in the next one where I'm hopefully much more energetic and, we can do some cool stuff. Cheers, everybody. Bye.